Hi, everybody. Welcome to our webinar on plurilingualism in education. We're thrilled to have you here as we dive into the fascinating topic of multiple languages in learning. Today, we have an exceptional panel of experts joining us from ITSW. First, we have Ms. Anna Maliszewska, the founder and linguist of the International Trilingual School of Warsaw. Her expertise has shaped an innovative educational institution that embraces plurilingualism. We are also joined by Ms. Talka, Tsuvanyk, and Ms. Sandy Ormerod, staff members of ITSW and also researchers in the SeLFiE project. Their valuable insight shed light on the transformative effects of plurilingual education. Throughout this webinar, we'll explore the journey of the International Trilingual School of Warsaw, examining their efforts to nurture plurilingualism and foster cultural understanding along with the SeLFiE project. So now I will open the panel to the first question. How would you define plurilingualism and what are its key characteristics?
The easiest way to define plurilingualism is to say that someone speaks many languages, and it's a fact, right? There are people who speak one, there are people who speak many more languages, but in fact, plurilingualism has many shapes and many different variations, and will have a lot of different shapes depending on the age of people who are plurilingual. So it works different when we talk about children, and it works different when we talk about adults. The main difference between being a plurilingual child or a plurilingual adult is the question of motivation, and is the question of a natural or non-natural process. So for children, they are completely not motivated to learn languages unless we do different activities in these languages. But at the end of the day, what motivates the children, it's not the language, it's what is done in the language. Also, so that's the question of motivation. The second thing is children learn languages in a very natural way. So like a newborn, you are not thinking about the fact that the child is learning a language, because in fact, the kid is not learning a language. He's learning or she's learning to communicate with an adult. And what is important in that process is the relationship that will be built, and then the communication that will be built, not the language itself. The language is just a tool. So this shows you already how differently the plurilingualism can be understood, or how it can be acquired, or how many, I would say, shades of grades has plurilingualism, because depending on what we understand as a plurilingual person, or plurilingualism as a process, we will have to define it and we will have to assess it in completely different ways. So what works for adults will not work for children, and what works for children will not necessarily work for adults.
Yeah, definitely. And what could you say about the benefits of promoting plurilingualism in educational settings?
I think it allows students to get multiple perspectives, especially in the different languages, because every teacher teaches differently, and then every language is also different. Children learn to be global citizens and learn more about worldly things, which is great.
And the languages that they're learning, they're also learning about the culture, the cultural aspects of that language as well.
Definitely. So this will contribute to cognitive development and enhance language learning abilities. Do you think so? So how does plurilingualism contribute to cognitive development and enhance language learning abilities? What would you say?
So it's a brand new domain, or it's a new field. We're talking about the benefits of plurilingualism only for the last 20, 30 years. So it's much more based on experience than studies. There are studies, but it's not widespread everywhere accepted knowledge. Okay, so we are somewhere in the beginning of the process of being conscient of what plurilingualism can bring. What we know today, and what has already been proven scientifically, is that language is a first abstract thing that people, children, are confronted with. If I say a word apple, I will say the same word in French. I will say pomme, and then I will say jabłko in Polish, and I will say manzana in Spanish. I'm still talking about the same object, but it is being called differently in 4 different languages. So it's exactly the first abstract thinking, like for a child, the child has to understand that the same thing can be called 4 different names. And it appeals to the child's senses, right? Because it's hearing, it's also the vision, it's also the cognitive discovery of the surrounding world. So we know that abstract thinking later on will help the children with maths, it will help them with music, it will also help them with any abstract domains like art, for example. So we don't know exactly yet where the language would lead them, but I think that the variety of domains or fields is huge. What we've also noticed with plurilingual children is that they are not scared to learn the language. For them, it's such a natural way or such a natural path that they don't have the same filters or blockades that the adults do. So they just go with the flow, and then they learn the language very, very quickly. And obviously, that will contribute to the learning abilities 100%.
Okay. So what role can teachers play in fostering a positive and inclusive classroom environment that values and celebrates linguistic diversity?
So the role that we play specifically here at ITSW is a cooperative role. We have the different languages across what we call our units of study, and we always have it either displayed. We work cooperatively with the other languages. So for instance, there's a team. So it would be an English representative, a French representative, a Spanish, a Chinese, and we all work cooperatively to make sure that we're teaching, like Anna was mentioning, the word apple. So consistency across the languages so that they can take that. And that is all done within the learning environment in the classroom. So it's either displayed, it's acted upon, and different group and partner activities revolve around those different units of study.
Great.
I will add one more thing to that question. The teacher plays the most important role because children, and I will repeat myself, don't learn the language to learn the language. They really don't care. They learn a code to communicate with a specific person. So if they like the teacher, if they have a good relationship with the teacher, then this will be the strongest language. And that's what we see. Children at all stages of education, they always choose the favorite teacher. And believe it or not, they will choose the language of the teacher. They will have the strongest capacities, the strongest skills in that particular language. Again, not because they love the language, it's because they love their teacher.
Oh. So in this case, with the project SeLFiE, working along with ITSW, how does the project SeLFiE initiative promote plurilingualism among participants at ITSW?
So for us, SeLFiE project was the most natural way of contributing, but also of learning how to build project-based learning. But it was a very natural way to embrace it because we've had project-based learning at school for some time already. We are multilingual anyway, and SeLFiE without languages would not be a project-based learning, right? Because we cooperated with the universities, we cooperated with different schools in different countries, so it had to be multicultural, multilingual, and plurilingual, and I would say multi-teaching method environment. So SeLFiE contributed to what we've been doing, but it also let us a variety of different contacts among Europe so far.
So talking about teachers here, so what advice or recommendations do you have for teachers who are passionate about promoting plurilingualism and want to make a meaningful impact in their students' language development?
Say not to be afraid to try things because children are so adaptable and they will kind of just go with the flow, like Miss Anna was saying. And then also collaboration is a huge part. And I think that's a common thing in all of our answers. It's collaboration, it's communication with not just your team, but I talk with Miss Sandy, who's a 3rd grade teacher, about what my 2nd graders need for 3rd grade and any bouncing ideas. So it's, don't be afraid to try new things and then communicate with other people because
Yeah, and incorporating those different cultures or languages into concepts they may be teaching. You know, try to incorporate, oh, well, it's similar, that's a similar thing that they do, or compare it to the country or the culture that that language comes from. So if you're having a book study, incorporating it from the different languages. So yeah, like she said, don't be afraid to try different things and compare it and try to incorporate how this is similar to other cultures and other languages.
Okay, so talking about this collaboration, what strategies or resources are provided by the project to support the development of plurilingual competences?
Well, the SeLFiE project provided,
Everything.
everything. They provided not only the actual books that we did for the book studies, but a very comprehensive lesson plan that we could pick and choose from depending on how we wanted to approach the topics. If we were able to do different language or grammar type things, we were able to put science concepts that we were already teaching, based on our units of study. So they gave us a very comprehensive, ways that we can teach this, having them thinking at a higher level, comparing and contrasting. Why do we need to do these things? So yeah, the SeLFiE project provided a very thorough lesson plans and materials for us to adapt it to our classroom.
Awesome. So how does the SeLFiE project contribute to breaking language barriers and promoting understanding among individuals from different linguistic backgrounds?
So if we consider that the project is the core of everything that will be around the project, then this is what we did. Because SeLFiE was in the center of all the activities, and we had children who were trilingual. So they obviously had their mother tongue, but they also spoke English, they also spoke Spanish. So whatever was done within SeLFiE, we've done it trilingually, which obviously takes away all the obstacles that you can have language-wise, right? You can do it in Polish, you can do it in Spanish, you can do it in English. Potentially, we also asked to be done in Ukrainian, so that will be the new thing to come, because we have students who came from Ukraine. And then for children, if we do not create barriers, they understand each other. That's not a problem. So we didn't really have to create understanding. We kind of promoted it, and you promote understanding among children because it's very, very important. And understanding for children is also a very natural phenomenon, or a very natural way of communication. Obviously, they will have conflicts, but understanding among children, they don't judge themselves, right? They don't judge each other. So for us, SeLFiE, again, was a very natural way of collaborating, of making a trilingual project, of I would say putting a project into the curriculum that was there already, and SeLFiE emphasized the trilingual aspect of it, and then the multicultural aspect of it.
Okay. What challenges or obstacles might teachers face when implementing plurilingualism in the classroom, and how can they be addressed?
I find one of the challenges is those students who come and don't know any of the languages that we offer. So they usually get pulled out for extra lessons on either like English with ESL teachers. So my suggestion for them is to collaborate not only with your team, but also like the ESL teachers, the SSL teachers, the FLE teachers, so everybody can be in doing this at the same time. Sometimes I invite those teachers to come join me during a lesson so they can help support those children. But the really cool thing about this is it's a project. So even if they don't understand 100% of what I'm saying, they can still do all the activities and still collaborate with other students because it's very hands-on.
Okay, then the last question. What advice or recommendations do you have for teachers, parents who are passionate about promoting plurilingualism and want to make a meaningful impact in their students' language development?
I think again, it's just be fearless. Try all the different activities. Again, incorporating different cultures into whatever concepts you're teaching. I know I'm repeating myself, but it's that collaboration. It's make the projects consistent where you adapt them to any of the languages that we're teaching in. Tie the concepts together, be fearless, try to, whether it's reading books about the topic, doing it in different languages, and incorporating it into your projects for concepts that you're teaching.
Okay, great. Do you have anything to add to this webinar about plurilingualism? Anything exciting or new, Misana, or any of you guys?
As Sandy said, don't be scared. It's for children up to, I would say, 6, 7, or even up till the end of primary. It's still a very, very natural process. They really learn, they acquire languages in a very, very fast pace. And they are much more interested in the activity itself than in the language. And this is a richness that, if it's not used, unfortunately, it will be lost. Because with age, we lose this kind of curiosity. But I think that till the age of 6 or 7, it's a 100% guarantee that your children can be plurilingual or multilingual. Later on, it's still feasible. When you are a teenager, you are interested in other things. So the earlier, the better.
Yeah, the big concepts, teaching it at this age are great. And especially, it's amazing every day to see our children, be able to go in and out of different languages in a matter of,
It's seconds. Yeah.
It's the cognitive abilities that they have are amazing. So, and in anything like the SeLFiE projects, any projects like that, being able to go in and out of those different languages is truly amazing. It only helps them to build their brains, if you will. So, and become global citizens, good global citizens.
Thank you very much for this webinar. And that's it.
Thank you.
That's it, girls. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.